mind. Right, so we've got this, and it says determine the triangle of ACB. So we've got a triangle, we've got an angle. You hopefully now will remember that the area is a half AB sine theta, okay? So the area is going to be a half multiplied by 4. This is also 4, so that's 4 times 4, and then sine, well, pi over 2, you can do pi over 2, or you can understand that that's sine of 90. So we've got a half of 16, and sine of 90, hopefully you'll know, is 1. Or you can use a calculator to find that. So the answer is 8.
Would you like to know what I know?
No, I want you to mark it, and then I will see. So it says 1 mark if you did the substitution into the area formula. Okay. 1 mark for your answer of 8. Okay. Guys, are you listening? 1 mark for substituting into the formula. 1 mark for the correct answer. Right, they must both be there. All right, B.
I substituted into another formula, but still got the right answer.
Okay, as long as it's into, it says substitute into an area of triangle formula.
Oh.
So if you used another method, then fine. Okay. Show that the area of the shaded region is 4 times pi minus 2. So again, you're expected to know that it's theta over whatever. Let's do 360 instead of, or theta over 2 pi. It's probably easier with the 360 multiplied by pi r squared. Okay, but then we have to subtract the area of the triangle. Got that? So we've got the area of the triangle is 8. So then we can do, it's 90 degrees out of 360 multiplied by pi multiplied by 16. Okay. Subtract 8. Now there is a problem, well, there isn't a problem actually. Now that's 1/4 multiplied by pi multiplied by 16 minus 8. 16 and 4 cancel to make 1 multiplied by 4 multiplied by 4, which is 4 pi minus 8, which is 4 pi minus 2. Okay. 1 mark for correctly into the area formula. 1 for the area of the sector, this bit, calculated correctly. So if you did that before the subtract 8. 1 mark for the 4 pi minus 8. And then it's assumed from that point because there are only 3 marks. Right, so if you've done that or you've gone straight to that, that's fine.
That would be easier.
Okay. Yeah, if you don't, because it's a show that question, if you haven't put all of this stuff, you don't get the marks. Yeah. One thing, you know that show that, this is the answer, you're not allowed to use the answer to show the answer works. That's not how it works. Okay? Never ever. If you start substituting that answer into something and show, yeah, it works, you're not going to immediately have to stop marking. Okay, find the area of the shaded region. Well, you've already got this bit. I can change the color. You've already worked out half. Sorry, yes. We've already worked out, not the side that I've just written, but yeah, because it's that bit we've worked. That bit you've worked out is 4 times pi minus 2. So we've just got to work this out, and we're going to do it in the same method. But what we needed was the angle here, okay? And then we can do exactly what we did before. Go on then.
Would this work? This is what I did. I don't know if it's right. But since the radius of that other circle is the same as the other one except multiplied by √2, can you just multiply the area that you got by root 2?
Because lengths are multiplied by, if all lengths are multiplied by root 2, areas would be multiplied by root 2 squared.
So if I multiplied it by root 2, so if I multiplied it by 2, I would have got it.
No, you can try it. What would you get as your answer? Well, you would have ended up with 8 lots of pi minus 2. What's that as an actual answer? I'm not asking you to work that in your head. You've got a calculator. What's that as a decimal? 9.13. No, that's not the correct answer. Because we're talking the curved areas here. Okay. So what we need to do, guys, is we need to, as I think Aisling realised, we need to repeat this process, but with the other triangle that side and this, and then just add on the answer for the previous one.
I think I got it wrong when I repeated it.
Well, what we need to do to be able to repeat the process, we need the angle. So the way to realise is that if I draw this triangle, just a little sketch, we know that that angle here, you've already said, is 90 pi over 2. And if that's 4 and that's 4, well, what are these two angles then? 45 and 40. Is that one of the special triangles? The special triangle we've got is 1, 1 and root 2. So if it's 4, 4 and 4 root 2. So I then know that that length is 4 root 2. And you'll just happen to notice that all three sides are 4 root 2. So that makes it a what triangle? So that is a 60-degree angle. Okay. So now we can go through the process that we did before, which was that blue area. Yeah. So we would do the 60 divided by 360 multiplied by pi multiplied by 4 root 2 squared, right? Minus the half multiplied by 4 root 2 squared multiplied by the sine of 60, right? And then we're just going to add 4 pi minus 2 on at the end. That's the part B question, yeah? So now we just have to go through and sort that out. So that's pi divided by 6 multiplied by 4 root 2 squared is 32 minus a half multiplied by 32 sine of 60 is root 3 over 2. You could have done that as a decimal if you like, but better off not at the moment. Are you all happy with root 3 over 2? Yeah. And then it's just a case of simplifying it. So we leave it as 32 pi over 6 minus 16 times root 3 over 2. Well, that's 8 root 3. And we have to add 4 pi minus 2. And what you end up with, once you've done all of that, 7.465, which rounds to 7.5. Okay?
I was close. 30.4.
So just to say, 1 mark. Guys, you listen? 1 mark for noticing that the angle is 60. Okay?
If you did it in radians,
Well,
you got
or
one of the
equivalent.
angles right, but you got the last one.
Well, you get 1 mark for knowing that. Should we say 1 mark for knowing that that's an equilateral triangle?
How do you show that you know that?
Well, I've labelled it in my diagram, you know.
No,
Yeah.
because I found the angle, but then I just lacked common sense.
Okay, it then says a second mark for doing the area of that triangle. So that's this bit.
Yep.
So we've got one mark, sorry. One mark. Okay, it's then got one mark for your 60, this here, one mark for the, that's that, isn't it?
So basically, if you don't use their exact method, you're kind of screwed.
Now it does say, and then there's, sorry. Then there's one mark for doing the subtraction. Sorry, there's one mark for doing this, one mark for doing the subtraction. Okay, the whole thing, if you're subtracting one from the other. Okay, now I will tell you there's a word in there that you can look at. It says, first mark for 60 degrees, second mark for working out the area of the triangle. It then says, they're 16 pi over 3. So your equivalent of. So if it's incorrect, but you've made it very clear that what it is and you're doing, so your equivalent of 16 pi over 3, right? So where's the 16 pi over 3? That's the, so if you didn't,
32 pi over 6.
yeah, this bit here, that's the area of the triangle, right? So if you didn't figure out that that was 16, you got a different angle, and therefore this was not equivalent to 16 pi over 3, or, right? But you did something along those lines and got, you can have one mark. You can then have the other mark for showing you did a subtraction, to show that you need to do a subtraction. All right? It does say I'm not allowed to give you the mark for the subtraction if you haven't got these workings shown separately, where it comes from. All right? The fifth mark is for saying 7.465. Okay? But I'm not allowed to accept your answer unless 2 of the previous marks are shown for working. All right? So if you'd have just written multiply by and guessed an answer, I can't give you any marks. All right? There is a 6th mark for rounding that answer to 7.5, but I'm not allowed to give you that if your answer, where I put 7.465, is a whole number. So if you round it immediately, I'm not allowed to give you the 6th mark. All right? So you must show that you're rounding. Now, it doesn't. Does it actually say in the question anything about rounding? Therefore, you must show what it was before so we can check. All right? That gives you your clue. All right. So, you've now got to give yourself a mark out of 11 for that.